What's up, everyone? Man, disappointing result this past weekend in Colorado Springs. The score line, I mean, doesn't show the disappointment. It's more how we ended up with a 2-2 draw on the road. We did get 1 point out of the match, still a positive there. And I think you would think that's a good thing on the road in Colorado Springs. Come away with 1 point. That's good. But man, it just did not it wasn't happy. It wasn't a happy ending for Orange County, even though we got that point. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the upcoming match against Phoenix Rising in the Prinx Tires something or other cup thing. Let's get into this. Welcome to the Show of Champions. This is the Orange and Black SoccerCast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black SoccerCast, the first and only show dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. We've got somewhat of a retro lineup here tonight. I'm confusing Dylan already, which I love. Dylan, how are we doing? Am I confusing you enough?
Retro? Am I that old? Doing fine. I don't think I'm hitting the panic button just yet. I think everyone else is, but more on that later. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I only say retro because there was a time and point where it was you, myself, and our third guest or our third co-host on this episode, and that is Brad. Brad, how are you doing? Long time no see.
Long time no see of a week?
Yeah, a week. Man,
okay.
You come with a short response, and I'm like,
I mean, like, what else? What else do you want from me? I know we got plenty of game to talk about, but disappointed is the word that I would use to describe, our last three halves of soccer. Because late on in each half we've allowed four goals in the last 5 minutes plus stoppage of every half going to the first half of the Sacramento game 2 weekends ago. So a lot of cleaning up that needs to happen.
Yeah, it was tough. The results especially from this past week. I think it's heartbreaking for many Orange County fans. Thus, I think Dylan's reference to the panic button at this point, Dylan's not quite there. Before we even talk about match, Brad, have you hit the panic button yet? See what I did to you there? Got you too.
No, you're all good. I think I did that on purpose. No, I'm not hitting the panic button, but I am hitting the concern button a little bit, just having my finger hovering like that little meme of the guy sweating, superhero sweating, pressing a button.
All right. Well, Orange County, again, as we've already alluded to a few times here, Orange County went out to Colorado Springs this past weekend, actually on Friday. So they started the weekend out in Colorado Springs. And in the 96th minute, held a 2-1 lead, looking like they would come home with 3 points. And then a last moment goal from Colorado Springs, a nice goal. It was, I'm not gonna act like it was a lucky goal. It was a nice strike to the back of the net, but Orange County leaves with only 2 points. Dylan, I think before the match starts, I think if we say, hey, this is what you're going to know, Orange County is going to leave with 1 point, a 2-2 draw in Colorado Springs, you probably would have been satisfied with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately a 2-2 draw still keeps us in second place in the West. I mean, I should actually go back to the beginning of the season when we all were like, hey, where are we going to end up this year? I think it was like fourth, seemed pretty optimistic. And here we are. Like, we only have to be as good as the teams around us. Colorado Springs needed a worldie at the last possible second to get a point when we didn't play that well. So, you take that every single time. And If we're gonna make it retro, let's think of our dear friend Alan Underwood, as he liked to say, "When at home, draw on the road." And while we're
I
not
mean,
quite 2 points per game anymore, we're 1.6. We're well on average on our way to being just fine come the end of the year.
yeah, I again, a draw on the road is usually a positive. When you look at the overall length of the season, if you can at least on, pretty consistently get a point on the road, and then every so often pull that victory on the road, you're sitting pretty good when it comes to the overall look of the playoff picture. Brad, I know you talked about it. You've been disappointed the last 3 halves of football that you've seen from Orange County. So explain in this match your disappointment for the full 90 minutes.
It's very difficult because there's a lot that was very quality about this game from Orange County. Starting with what's currently on our screen for those of you guys listening on the audio version. This is the absolute masterclass, kind of reminding me of vintage Milano Losky that came from Chris Hagart, who just dances with some incredible footwork before unleashing a top shelf goal. But just lapses in judgment at the end of halves. I know we've talked in postmortem about the Sacramento breakdown and what happened there, allowing 2 goals in the 88th and stoppage. But this game, in the first half, one Mr. Tom Brewitt gets caught kind of flat-footed and drags a defender down. And I know he's protesting it, but I hope I'm talking for both of you guys. Ray shaking his head. I believe that was an honest penalty. Maybe the guy goes down a little easy, but if I'm the referee, I see player arm out, arm extended. I see a shirt getting a little bit of a drag, player going to ground. I'm calling a penalty. Sure, he might have gone down easily, but by the letter of the law, it's a penalty. And then late on in the game, we haven't gotten to the second half there, but, a player is allowed to dance around 3 players for Orange County, and McGee scores an absolute worldie from outside the box. Credit to him, and Dylan's exactly right. He's able to really make a good meal out of that, but we shouldn't be giving up these goals late in halves. It affects, drop points, that we might come to regret later.
All right, so you open up this conversation, so I'm going to run with it right now, and that's the late penalty towards the end of the first half. Yes, there was contact. Tom Brewitt did touch the Colorado Springs player. I believe it was Bennett. And when I say touch, I mean barely touched him. If you really watch that replay, now I get it. The ref doesn't have the benefit of seeing a replay. There was a lot of salesmanship, a lot of B or C level acting from Bennett in that whole situation. I mean, Brewitt is doing what you see every player on the pitch do, every inch of the pitch do, is they have their hand on a player just to sort of be near them. Now, sometimes there's a little bit of grabbing, sometimes there's a little bit of shoving, sometimes that, but let's be honest. It was 100% an acting job. It was sold to the ref. The ref bought it. The ref was fooled. The ref looks like a fool in this moment. And unfortunately for Orange County, that's what happened with this is it got called. It was a penalty. Colorado Springs equalizes. The interesting thing is, regardless of that, Orange County went up in the second half with a beautiful goal from nutmeg from Osman Silla on the Colorado Springs goalkeeper to take a 2-1 lead. So this was basically, who cares about what happened with this and the horrible call by the ref. Unfortunately, that world blast from outside the box came so darn late, which seems to be a theme going on right now for Orange County. Go ahead, Brad. I know I destroyed you on that thought of yours, but go ahead. What's your response?
I'm going to just go ahead and say it. 2 different things that I do want to break down there. On the eventual Tom Brewitt, pen being given, there is some shoddy defense in the midfield, a player falling down, and then Brewitt's getting beat on the back end. And then I do think we do get our our +1 back from it from the ref because rewatching the highlights of this game, it does appear, in my honest opinion, that Silla is a little offside on that, and that's definitely a no call that was missed. And I know that's coming up in our little highlight package shortly, but just look at the positioning of Silla there. I think we got one back on that call.
Unfortunately, we're looking from an angle that you can't really tell for sure. So that's sort of a debate that is, you're not going to have a definitive answer on that. Dylan, you've been quiet sitting there watching these punches go back and forth between Brad and myself. You're the tiebreaker on this. What are your thoughts on that PK? Was it an obvious PK as Brad says, or is there some questioning of if it should have been called?
This was in fact a penalty. Look, the attacker's got his body between him, the ball and the defender. Like it's gonna get given every single time. If it's a push, a little more shoulder to shoulder, I think nothing. We even saw that earlier today. For those who maybe watched the Boros Southampton game, great example of what an embellishment and a non-penalty look like versus this, which is you've kind of clawed a guy, and he's understandably going to look for contact, being forced away from goal, and go down. Oh well. The fact of the matter is Orange County should have done better in that play, and also should have done better at the end of this match. It's not so much the result that bothers me here. It's maybe I shouldn't be so negative. It is some of the maybe fatigue. Now, I'm not the one running around at 7,000 feet, but you would hope that some fresh legs would make a difference. All the same, I do want to take a minute and actually shout out some of the positives from this match. I do think that Tubbs did a really good job to split the defense for Colorado for the opener. He did really well, and admittedly wasn't pressed particularly well by the Colorado front line, but all the same, found the spot, played a ball perfectly. That was really wonderful. And yeah, I guess I'm going to leave that as like the main positive that I noticed from that one. I do want to give him some credit. He's been, he was rightly criticized for his sending off at the beginning of this year. And otherwise, I feel like he's largely flown under the radar, despite being relatively a good center back and a good partner to Tom Brewitt. So, shout out to the defenders. Maybe they need a little bit of love right now, because while things aren't going poorly, Orange County was playing at I believe John Morrissey pointed out, statistically anomalous rate that had never actually been seen before. So this maybe is a regression to the mean, and we're still second in the West. Also, he was definitely not off. Just want to say that one, Brad. So
yeah, I'm a little blind
it's
there.
Even, I guess.
18 kept him on.
Ray was off. Brad was off. And we'll go with that. I'm the best person here. I'm flexing.
Let me ask you, Brad.
Watching.
Yeah, Brad, let me ask you, did you have any positives from this match that you wanted to mention before we talk about something else in this match?
I do definitely want to say it's nice to see the team scoring goals, more than one in a game. The defense still is one of the better defenses in the league, regardless of these collapses late in games or late in halves. I do think that Coach Stone will right the ship there. Definitely probably going to work a little bit on the fitness, especially late. And then looking at the bench of this game, I wanted to find something to say about substitutions that we made, but seeing Bazzini and Duty come on at half, and then McKinnon come on before Nicola Chioda came on very late at the game, there really isn't much more depth on the bench there that we can really take advantage of, mostly due to the fact that the rest of the bench in this game was the youth movement that has seen very limited minutes this season.
Let's talk about this, because you guys have both sort of mentioned the team started looking a little bit tired there towards the end. Now, obviously, they're playing at very high altitude, which for anyone that's tried to run for 90 minutes at a high altitude. It's not easy if your body's not used to it. That's always been an advantage for any team that's playing in Colorado. I think Utah, New Mexico. There's some areas that have some pretty high elevations in this country that there's an advantage, right? So famously in the 80s, the Denver Nuggets basically just like to run you off the court and just go full throttle the whole match or the whole game, and thinking that the other teams are not going to be able to keep up. I saw in this match, and I know there's been a lot of fan anger or frustration over the once we go up, we sort of sit back and we don't press. And I felt like in this match, when we were up 2-1, we were still pressing a little bit. Is that not the correct strategy at this altitude in this match, Dylan? Was that the wrong time to go a little bit harder on the press while you're up 2-1 on the road in Colorado Springs?
It's pretty much always the right strategy. The more that you press, the more you open yourself up at the back, which leaves us vulnerable to just a long ball over the top. So it's the right call here, and it's generally the right call all the time. And our youthful team just needs a little bit more practice to see things off a little bit more.
All right. Next question I have and Brad, I can't remember if Dylan was part of this conversation, but I can remember that Brad was part of the conversation. We'll talk about, even though Orange County went or gave up the equalizer late, they did have a chance with Scylla very late on, and it wasn't too far off. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I want to ask this, and you both can chime in, but I'm directing this at Brad. I was very vocal when I believe it was in the Open Cup match against El Paso when Apollo was on, I believe it was Apollo was on a card, on a yellow. And I said, coach should have taken him out and should have pulled him aside for the betterment of the team and not put him in a situation to get that second yellow and thus a red, which unfortunately that's what ended up happening. In this match, we saw Mo War get an early yellow card, and coach does take him out at halftime to avoid getting that second yellow card. Brad, explain to me, like, you were all for we should keep them in and let them grow through it. So why is this the right decision from Coach Stone to take Mo War out in this match?
Do you want a victory lap over something that's completely and entirely meaningless? I don't know the reason Mo War was taken out. It could have been the yellow. He could have picked up some sort of injury. Or maybe the plan all along was to give Grayson Duty a full 45 minutes because he's working himself back from injury and needs the minutes, and he's probably the first choice option in that position. I think it might be that last one. But, I mean, it could have been a yellow card.
So if it was because of the yellow card, are you upset about that? Because he should be left in and learn how to play through it, right, Brad?
I will give you your props. There was a yellow card, but I'm almost certain, and I think Dylan will agree with me, this is probably to give Grayson Duty some extra time on the field.
What do you think, Dylan? You get to chime in on this.
Yeah, sorry, Ray. I don't think you're right here. Actually, I'm not sorry about that one, to be honest. This isn't remotely the same situation at all. And I think it's worth noting that we have a player coming back into fitness, and we also have less of a need for Mo War to figure out how to play while on a yellow card as a right back. He's kind of proven that he can, in fact, play it. He's been a professional for, 5, 6 years, 7 years now.
Mm-hmm. And I'll go one further. If it was a yellow card that Mo War was taken out for, then why was Zubac taken out at halftime as well, not sitting out a yellow for Yaniv Bazini? I totally butchered his name.
Because there was no yellow there, we obviously know it's not because he's on a yellow card, so thus it's a tactical or a pre-planned switch. But with Mo on a yellow card, we have to wonder, was it because he was on a yellow card he got taken out? And or was it another reason? We never know, but I just wanted to find out if you were still supportive of, if they're on a yellow card, they should stay in and learn how to play through the yellow card. Last thing, we did see Scylla almost get the game winner, the match winner, late in like the 98th minute of this match. It looked like a really good opportunity. What was going through your mind, Dylan, as you saw that building up there? Did you think he was going to be able to strike that to back the net? And how disappointed were you when it went wide?
Perhaps I just answer your question with another question. To everyone that's hitting the panic button and freaking out, how many times this season have you watched Orange County play and you have probably shouted at Usman Silla to make a slightly different decision during second half stoppage time? How many points would we have? In all seriousness,
So
he did the right thing. He missed a little bit. You hope that next time he puts that one away.
So I'm just a little confused, Dylan. So are you saying that he made the wrong decision, or you were saying all the other times were wrong decisions and he actually made the right decision this time?
I think largely we collectively as fans probably say that Silla tends to make maybe not the right decision, or he holds onto the ball slightly too long in these situations. I do think this was harder than the one he did actually put away, but realistically, this was the right decision. He's just a little bit wide of the goal.
And to be fair, I think his strong foot is his right foot, so he's on his left foot there. It's not as easy if you haven't tried kicking a ball with your weak foot on the run and trying to blast it by a goalkeeper. Go try it, and it's not the easiest thing to do. Man, I was so excited. I was ready to start celebrating when I saw that play building up, and when it went just wide, it's like, oh, right, Brad. I think Brad doesn't even know what's going on. He's just typing away. Let me just say this. One last thought on this match. We'll move on. We'll talk about the upcoming match in the USL Cup. Colorado Springs, y'all got to figure out your electronic advertising boards, because those things were basically whitewashing the whole top like 10 yards of the pitch that we saw on the stream. So just figure things out. That's just hard to watch when it's just it looks like basically just a white bright light shining on the field and making things difficult. After that match, Orange County does sit second. So for those of you that have hit the panic button already, why? And for those of you that are still on board with this team and you're not stressed out yet, good for you. They're going to continue their competitive matches, but not in league play. It'll be cup play this coming weekend as they travel to the land of the butterflies, Phoenix, to face Phoenix Rising in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Okay, we saw, Brad, I'm going to go to you. We saw against El Paso, the rotated side. You and everyone else seem to think that's showing us that Orange County doesn't care about this competition. Are you expecting to see a fully rotated side against Phoenix?
I expect to see a very similar, if not identical, lineup minus Marinich, who will be serving that red card for the last game against El Paso and the anti-Malort rubber tire product cup. Look, at the end of the day, I've been a vocal disdainer of this cup. I don't see the need for it. I understand why it exists. I understand USL League One teams do get to have more of a unique set of fixtures because of this, but it's still not important to me, and I think the team has definitely signaled that this is a almost perfect opportunity to give the youth players a low risk chance at minutes in a game, and so they're going to do that just to give them the field time, and I expect the same this week again.
Dylan, on to you. This will be surprisingly, or I guess not surprising, I believe the third time these two teams are seeing each other early on in the calendar year here. Phoenix right now holds the slight advantage. They've won a match and the other match was a draw. Is there any part of that you see like Orange County's be like, we need to come out and show Phoenix that we're the better team? That way, if we face them later on in the season, they're not super confident in the results they've had against us? Or are you with Brad? This is just sort of, let's rotate the squad, give some of the younger players a chance to play. Let's not worry about this cup or this matchup.
Yeah. The only reason everyone obviously wants to win this match, everyone involved in the club, because winning matches is, kind of the whole point of everything here, right? Does it matter? Absolutely not. Who cares? And I say that because we lost the first match, and whatever. I'd probably be saying that right now. Ultimately, I think the form later on this season, when these two teams meet in the league, is going to make a bigger difference. Right now, let's get some guys fit. Maybe we see Grayson Duty start. I mean, why not, right? And just try and get a positive performance and hopefully a 95 or 97 minute performance out of the team. Build some confidence and carry that into matches that actually matter and actually mean something.
So let me ask you this, Dylan. In this match, obviously there's a few players that I think are struggling or not living up to the OC fans' expectations. I know we've talked about Ethan Zubak a few times on the show that he's not seeming to be at his peak form. If we recall, in the past couple seasons he's been with the team, he's typically a second half of the season player anyways. But for this match against Phoenix, would you rather give opportunities to players that are maybe struggling a little or are not in form, or would you rather give it to just some of the young players that aren't going to get minutes otherwise?
I don't really know who else we have to give to there, right? Sheik Kone is no longer with the club, so why not give Ethan some minutes and hopefully build a little bit more confidence? Kind of seems like he and Bazzini are going to rotate, seemingly no matter what. So might as well just keep having them do 45s and keeping them both pretty match fit.
Brad, we've seen Phoenix twice this season. Do you expect anything different from Phoenix? I know we're not a Phoenix podcast, but I'm just wondering, do any of us expect Phoenix to do something different, or are they sort of similar to us? And who cares? It seems like this is a non-starter for for a lot of teams. Maybe Phoenix is one of those, right?
Looking at their roster that they fielded in the first game, also a lot of youth, 4 teenagers in that roster, including a 15-year-old. I honestly expect probably something similar from their side. Their first game was also a 1-0 loss to Switchbacks. I expect this to be the same from their end.
So we'll do predictions, but Brad, what do you most want to see from this match? Like, is there a player that you want to see get big minutes or maybe get an opportunity to step up? Or is there a tactic that you maybe want to see Coach Stone tinker with or try out in this match? What do you want to see out of Orange County in this match? Who cares about the result?
I want to see 11 players plus substitutes all return from this game healthy. I find that these games are trap games.
All right. Dylan, if we can all recall I believe it was the last time these two teams met was in the Open Cup, and it was a card fest. Am I correct? I'm pretty sure it was the card fest. What do you think? Are we going to see another card fest in this match, or is this going to be a cleaner match?
I think there's realistically less on the line here, so probably. Let me just answer. No, there's less on the line, and also since, as you loved to beat on this drum so hard, that was the most amount of yellow cards that have ever been in a professional match. I don't think we're going to see that statistical anomaly again.
Well, without a red card being shown. Without a red card being shown.
I think that's the second time I've mentioned statistical anomalies on the show tonight, which now anything is possible, I guess.
You're quoting. Dylan is quoting Kevin Garnett in this episode as well, so that is pretty cool. Prediction for this match, Brad. What do you think is going to be the final score, and does it even matter?
1-1 penalty kicks, flip a coin. That's who wins. We're the visiting team, so I guess we can be tails, even though I think heads is the more fun answer to call on a coin flip. You can ask Google to flip a coin right now if you want.
I'm not going to ask Google to flip a coin. You always pick tails. You always go with tails, amazingly.
Brad. Tails never fails.
Who has a coin these days?
Oh, hold on. Dylan's gonna choose who wins the game.
900 years old, Raymond. Jeez. This is so terrible for the audio format. Sorry, everybody. All right. The head is currently
I'll
up.
do the play-by-play
All
for
right,
you,
so
right? So
Phoenix-
Dylan just flipped the coin up in the
Oh
air,
no, I just
put it in
needed
his
to-
hand.
oh.
He's got it covered. Lift it, Dylan.
It is heads, y'all.
All right, so Phoenix wins on penalty kicks is Brad's official prediction, 1-1.
All right, Dylan, what's your prediction?
What is the tagline from Whose Line Is It Anyway? So the points don't matter. Well,
Yep.
Brad seems like he knows it.
Where everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Boom. Welcome to the USL Prinx Tires Cup, y'all. Who cares? I hope everyone's healthy. I hope everyone has a good time. And I hope everyone has a wonderful time at the watch party at Dave and Buster's at the Spectrum. So, yeah.
Is that
I mean, this
on that ad? Is that DK right there on the ad with like a big old grin on his face?
the mustache should have given it away.
And then if you look
That
top
is,
left, it
that
says
is-
brother.
I know. Well,
Whoa.
it's the Jenks up on this advertising board. Yeah, if you didn't know, there is a watch party for this match. This coming Saturday, May 16th at Dave and Buster's at the Irvine Spectrum. I believe I didn't go to this last one, but I believe they have like discounts and stuff like that they'll be doing for anyone in attendance that's an OCSC fan. You get to hang out with some other OCSC fans and cheer on a, I guess, meaningless cup competition.
Well, does it matter to you, Ray? What's the score going to be? And does the result matter?
For this match, it's going to be 5-0 Phoenix, and it's not even going to matter.
May 12th. We made it that far in the year, and you're already doing this.
Well, I'm
You
doing
know,
this for the
honestly-
Prinx Tires USL Cup.
I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, I expected this to take a little or to happen a lot quicker. So this is probably like the latest that Ray has seen his shadow and called a 5-0 in a season.
I feel like in the past, there's been a season in the past where I probably started the season on that train, but who knows? We'll have to get one of our historians to check it out and watch every past episode and see when I started. Any other thoughts about this match before we move on?
Nothing.
All right, cool. So we briefly, our friend Matt was on the show last week, and he briefly mentioned and talked about the tentative agreement between the USL Players Association and the USL League, and I believe it was pending ratification. And we didn't really get into our thoughts on it all. And Dylan was not here, and I know Dylan's a big proponent of all of this. He likes to be very vocal about workers' rights and stuff like that. So Dylan, what are your thoughts on the league and the players coming to the tentative agreement? And how stoked are you, that it happened? Were you confident that it would happen? I guess. Did you think it would happen in the first place? And how stoked are you about it?
I am very stoked. I did figure that ultimately would happen. Unlike, referees you can hire replacements for. It's harder to do that with a 25-man squad. And the results would be pretty poor if you did as well. And it's just kind of a bad look for the players. So congrats to the players. Congrats to the Players Association as well. I do despise this man every time I see him playing on a pitch, but I do believe Mitch Tainer had quite a bit to do with this. Connor Tobin, who I have no strong feelings for or against, had plenty to do with this as well. So shout out to the USLPA leadership. Shout out to every single one of the players who decided that potentially risking their career was worth improving something. And my hope is that, of course, that we all maybe take something away from this, that we are all stronger together. But I look forward to our players and the players across the league receiving benefits and receiving something resembling professional standards. And I look forward to how those improve over the coming years.
Dylan, I have a challenge for you before I ask Brad's opinion on it. I do have a next time you're in Seattle, I want you to find a random Seahawks fan and just tell them, hey, refs are easily replaceable, and find out what they have to say to you. Brad, what are your thoughts on this agreement?
I share most, if not all, of what Dylan said so eloquently. First of all, that advertisement is interesting on the screen. I won't go into detail to our audience at home, but it appears to be a novel game. Um, Sorry, that is very distracting. No, on the entire USL agreement and everything that's gone on behind the scenes, kudos to the players union for really digging their heels in. Really had to work hard to get the league to agree to this. From my understanding, talking to a couple players myself, there were some teams that were looking to go above and beyond. I won't name those teams out, just obviously I'm not at liberty to say, but there were some teams that I heard that were offering to pay players salaries in full should a strike go on, and those players weren't on the field. And to my understanding, there's a couple of holdout teams that were named to me as well that I also will not name, but shame on them for really making this process take a lot longer than it needed to. But at the end of the day, the players got, pretty much everything that they were asking for. I don't believe their demands were overly zealous and overly irrational, and better standards moving forward, and with the launch of the USL Premier League as well.
Yeah, I feel like once the league decided they wanted to go play, play with the big boys and be a tier one, a flight one, division one, whatever you want to call it, league, or provide a division one league for U.S. soccer to compete with MLS, then you're going to have to step up with what you're providing to the players and the standards you're providing the players. And it's a bad look if you're saying, hey, we have this infrastructure ready to open up this top flight in the US, but we still aren't quite there to be able to give the players what seems like a reasonable or fair option. So I'm glad this happened. Unfortunately, it took a few weeks or a couple months into the season for something, but it was awesome to see also a lot of the fan support that you saw across matches, fans, supporters groups, chanting at matches, including Caroline Coalition, for this cause. And it's good to see that it happened. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes moving forward. And the next time, because I don't think this is that long of a sort of agreement. It's only like a year and a half or 2 years or something like that. And then they'll have to be negotiating the next round. But it'll be interesting to see the next time this comes around where things stand and if it takes long again. And we've got Mr. Doorbell. Come on in, Mr. Doorbell.
Is that my new title?
That was the name christened to you by Mr. Matt Elder. So that's what we've got you, Mr. Doorbell.
I don't think he's the guy who gets to pick my title, but if I remember correctly, I closed the article already. If I remember correctly, the current, newly agreed to tentatively CBA goes, I think it's through 2030. I think is what it was. So 3.5 years roughly. I don't know if it's through the end of 2030 or up to 2030, but that's what I recall.
Yeah, thank you for chiming in and bringing that information. And by the way, if you were watching the video format or if you're watching live, the article in reference that Andy was talking about, I believe there was 2 articles he was showing. One was I think goal.com and one was from backheel.com. So check out those sites for more news. Obviously, we provide news for you. You can check out our website, ocsepodcast.com, for Orange County related coverage. But there's other entities that do a wider league-wide or even just wider soccer coverage. So you can check those out as well to find that information. And by the way, if you're online on your phone, find us on social medias. Give us a like, a thumbs up, share some of our stuff, and you'll be able to help us grow and help us find more voices and more eyes on there. Anything else soccer related, Dylan, that you would like to share? And if not, Brad, you can chime in after that as well.
I just want to say that I've always loved West Ham. Come on, you Irons, just gigantic. I love claret and blue. There's no better color combo on earth. Yeah, I think that's what I've got.
They're sort of lucky that Tell decided to try a bicycle kick in the box and thus kicked the head of, I forget who he kicked the head of from the opponent this past weekend or this past Monday or yesterday. Geez, man, it feels like it's been such a long time. Otherwise, Tottenham would have been like, I believe, 4 points up with 2 matches remaining, which is a more difficult position. But they still have a chance, Dylan. West Ham still has a chance. You know, there's a term in English football called Spursy. I think anyone that follows English football knows what that term is referencing. 2 matches, 2 points ahead. It's not a shoo-in for Spurs at this point. Brad, any thoughts you have football related?
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of late goals being given in games. My favorite Premier League team, Everton, has the same ailment that is hitting them, allowing late goals in games that Orange County seems to be plagued by. It's made for very stressful watches on my end, and my heart can only handle so much. But luckily, that league is also coming to the end of their season, and my team will somehow find a way to allow Tottenham to stay in the league, despite the better part of millions of fans around the world wanting anything but.
Well, the whole reason Tottenham is in this predicament is because they decided not to build the cheese room at the new stadium. If they would have built that cheese room, they would have been sitting pretty and no worries about anything. Let's do this. Before we get into random thoughts, I do want to do a quick history lesson because I did mention the term butterflies when I referenced Phoenix. I know producer Andy put a comment on there that, at some point I talked or called them butterflies or talked about butterflies. Quick history lesson. We were talking about how it's harder for us in Orange County to get fans than it was for people in Phoenix because there's a lot more to do where we live. We have double the sports, double the universities, double the activities. And I compared it all back forth, like league to league. Back then they had a hockey team. They don't even have a hockey team anymore to compete with. We still have 2. And I referenced like Disneyland, Knott's Berry from all that stuff. I'm like, what do they have for like an amusement type park? They have a butterfly garden. And Dylan, if you can recall, that caught the ire of like every Phoenix fan on social media. And they called me out on it. And I feel like I actually felt a little bit scared sometimes talking to Phoenix fans when they'd come to Orange County. Just I didn't know if they were the ones that are going to be like, hey, we don't like you because you called us butterflies. Last part of this story is we participated or we donated to the I believe it was one of the fan groups in Oklahoma, in Tulsa. I believe they did a donation for a polar plunge. Yes, and we donated for California, representing California. They basically said first supporter group or podcast to donate in a state, you get that. And they built this graphic with the United States and they put California, they put our logo on there. And it was coming to like the last day and no one had claimed Arizona yet. And I asked them, hey, if we donate a second donation, would you be willing to put in not our logo on Arizona, but a picture of butterflies? And they said, great. Yeah, we'll take the money. It's a good cause. We'll do that. We'll do that for you. Long story short, Phoenix, come on, you got to donate for good causes or we're going to put butterflies on your state next time this happens as well. So there we go. Dylan's like, great.
I feel we are popular, but perhaps not well-liked characters in the Western Conference sphere. Good for us.
Are you talking about your social media fandom, Dylan?
I don't know what fandom I could possibly have, but
hey, hit him up, Dylan.
Whatever.
Hit him up.
Hey, if you're a person who gets offended by being related to an insect, maybe you are closer to an insect than you think. Moving on, before we do wrap up this episode, there is one more piece of news that I feel like we as a club or a group of individuals who cover the USL Championship would be I'm bad at big words, but we need to talk about Cristo Fernandez or Danny Rojas signing from AFC Richmond, the first ever, I believe, fictional character to get a real deal with a real soccer team. Dylan, you're giving me a face. I'll let you go ahead and speak first.
I mean, he's a real person. It's not as if they've literally signed Danny Football is Life / Football is Death Rojas. he's legitimately a real human being who's already kind of appeared for them in a friendly. But hey, that's a lot of eyes on USL. I saw an article in the BBC about this earlier. So welcome to the Players Association. And
now here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
I want to know what are the league rules? What are the league rules for names on the jersey? Because I'd love to see him put Rojas on the back of his jersey. That would be a fun thing there.
I don't know if, and I highly doubt the USL has rules in place a la the Prem about what you can actually have on the back of your shirt.
I bet you Apple might care a little bit about what's on the back. So
they'll just be like the 18th streaming provider that the USL could partner with to show a one-off match in the middle of July, so we could have one more subscription to pay for.
I feel like
here's what I say.
$$.
I don't think Apple could complain. I don't think Apple could complain because I think Rojas is a pretty popular last name, pretty popular name. So who cares? But yeah, that's fun to see. I was actually when I was watching the match against El Paso a few weeks back, I was wondering about that. I'm like, whatever happened with that? And awesome to hear. It's fun news.
How angry are we going to be in this hypothetical world where we concede a 95th minute winner or
to Danny Rojas
goal to fictional Danny Rojas, and then you turn to your left and you see like a family kitted out in AFC Richmond shirts? Like, what? I mean, do you just start like yelling at them?
You know what? I would hate on that. I would not hate at that. I would not hate at that moment. I would just crack up at that. I think that's all I could do. Yeah. So, with that said, we're going to wrap things up. We're going to do it. You could pick or choose random thought or what did you learn this episode? I'll go to you first, Brad.
I learned that Dylan, you'll get a chance on August 1st to see Danny Rojas net a 95th minute winner or tying goal. That feels like a winner if you're down a goal on the road and tie it in the last minute of a game against your Orange County SC.
Dylan, what about you?
I guess mine's more of a random thought. It's just soccer.
Is that all? It's just soccer. That's all you wanted to say.
It's soccer.
Here's my random thought, and here's what I want to talk about really quick is, yes, we are a soccer show. We cover Orange County Soccer Club, but we also like to say support local. And guess what? One of your other professional sports teams is currently battling in the playoffs for ice soccer, and that's the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. They are currently in a battle with the Vegas Golden Knights in the second round of the NHL playoffs. And as we speak right now, live, it is in the third period in a 1-1 draw. I believe the series is tied 2-2. So this is an all-important match. Everyone knows if you can go up 3-2, that's where you want to be. You don't want to be down on the 3-2 side of things. So go Ducks, and hopefully we'll get to talk more about Ducks next week. Woohoo! With that said, we're gonna. Brad, you're a hockey / ice soccer fan. So tell us what your thought is right now.
My thought was Ray does not speak for all of us in terms of favorite teams. My favorite team is enjoying an extra elongated break in between rounds because they went ahead and took care of business in 4 straight games the second time. So, in the famous words of Marty Martinook, 2 days off.
With that said, we're going to wrap things up here. I want to thank everyone that participated in this show. My co-host, Dylan, Brad, also our producer, Mr. Doorbell. Also, any listeners that were listening live on the show and participating in the chats, thank you for doing so. We appreciate that. With that said, my name is Ray. This has been the Orange and Black SoccerCast. We are out.